everyone, it's Becky from Book Obsessed Becky. I am coming at you today with a book haul, a new book haul. There are some Book of the Month books in here from last month and this month. And cozy mystery, cozy fantasy, a romance, kind of like a historical fiction type deal. So let's get started, shall we? So the first book I'm going to talk about is the second in a series, and it's called On Spine of Death by Tamara Berry. And I loved the first book so much. I have it right there on my bookshelf. I don't want to say too much about this book because I don't want to spoil the first book, but it is by the book mystery series. And a quick little blurb on this one is Tess and Gertie. Tess is the mom, Gertie is the daughter. We meet them in the first book. Tess and Gertie decide to take an old store and convert it into a bookstore. And as the renovations are going on, they break into something like a wall or something, and bones fall out. Now these bones have been there for a long time, like maybe 30 plus years or whatever. So obviously the construction has to come to a halt, like a case needs to be solved. And of course, if you read the first one, you know that Tess is a thriller writer and she gets very involved with like solving cases and things like that. So this is no different. She gets a hold of one of her author friends. I think it was like a horror author maybe, and has the friend come in, and they take all of the clues that they've discovered involving this body or these bones that have been found, and they try to put it all together to solve the case by writing a story. So I'm excited to get into this. The first chapter in By the Book, I think is what the book was called. The first book in the series. Let me look on the back here. Oh, Buried in a Good Book. In that book, the first chapter had me laughing so much, so I'm hoping that it's the same with this book. Okay, the next one I got here is The Wheelwright's Daughter by Eleanor Porter. And I found this on a display when I walked into the bookstore. I think it was like $5 or $8, and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a try. We are in the 16th century England, and it says Martha is a feisty and articulate young woman, the daughter of the Wheelwrights, living in England. She's able to read and write. She's good with herbal remedies, so of course we're in the 16th century. It only means that she could be a witch, right? So when a land slip occurs, opening a huge chasm in the center of the village, she's blamed for it, and she's pursued by the villagers. Can Martha's own wits and the love of local stable hand Jacob save her from a witch's persecution and death? I love stuff like this, like back in the day, England, witchy vibes, the whole deal. I love stories like this, so I'm very excited to get into this one, and I love the cover. I think it's beautiful. Even the back is beautiful. I don't know if you can see it, but I just think it's going to be a great book. It's not too long either, so that's nice. But yeah, and I've never heard of this author. I've never read anything by this author, so I'm excited to get into that. The next one is book 1 in a new series by Rebecca Thorne. It's called Can't Spell Treason Without T. This is what it looks like. It's a cozy fantasy. It's got the sprayed edges. That's the back. And I'm very excited about this because I've discovered that I love cozy fantasies. I started with Legends and Lattes. I've done Emily Wilde. I've done like the first and second book in the Legends and Latte series. I've done the first and second book in the Emily Wilde series. And yeah, I'm just excited to move on to a new one. And I don't know if you'd consider Tress and the Emerald Sea a cozy fantasy, but I really enjoyed that book as well. And when you open this book, look at the artwork. Isn't that beautiful? So I'm not going to read you the whole blurb on the back. Sorry, there was something on the floor. But I'll read you a little bit of it. It says, "Run away with me," the mage had said, her eyes alight. "You like tea, I like books. Let's open a shop somewhere remote and forget the world exists." So they end up opening their shop right outside of Dragon Country, And it says, what follows is a cozy tale of mishaps, mysteries, and a murderous queen throwing the realm's biggest temper tantrum while these two women discover just what they mean to each other and the world. So I'm here for it. Tea, books, I'm assuming dragons if it's outside of dragon country. All the cozy vibes. Yes, please. All right. This book I have just finished, and I originally picked it up because usually every summer my husband, son, and I go to Prince Edward Island, or PEI in Canada. But last year we didn't get to go. And this year we're not going to be able to go due to like family health issues and things like that. So I was really kind of missing Prince Edward Island. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick this one up. And the cover just reminds me of the island so much because it's ocean and it's red dirt. And anyways, it's called This Summer Will Be Different. This is my first book by Carley Fortune that I've ever read, and I really liked it. I'm going to read you the back of it. So we're following Lucy. She's a tourist and she's vacationing at a beach house on PEI. She runs into a man named Felix who shows her a good time. He was shucking oysters when they met. The only problem, Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat their electric night. It's easier said than done. Each year, Lucy escapes to PEI for a big breath of coastal fresh air, fresh oysters, and crisp wine with her best friend, Bridget. Every visit begins with a long walk on the beach beneath soaring red cliffs and a golden sun. In every visit, Lucy promises herself she won't wind up in Felix's bed again. If Lucy can't help being drawn to Felix, at least she's always kept her heart out of it. When Bridget suddenly flees Toronto a week before her wedding, Lucy drops everything to follow her to the island. Her mission is to help Bridget through her crisis and resist the one man she's never been able to. But Felix's sparkling eyes and flirty quips have been replaced with something new, and Lucy's beginning to wonder just how safe her heart truly is. If you like romance, if you like beach getaways, if you like friendships, then I think you will like this book. There is steam in it, so beware, but I really did enjoy the story. And I don't know if I enjoyed it because it's on PEI or if I enjoyed it because it's a good story, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just read this and I really loved it. Alright, so my book of the month pick for June was a 1-star romance. I've already read the book. I gave it, I think, 3-star. I enjoyed it when I was reading it, but it is a bit forgettable. So I'm going to read you the inside flap because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. It says, a struggling writer is forced to walk down the aisle at her best friend's wedding with the man who gave her book a very public 1-star rating in this fresh romantic comedy. So Natalie and Rob couldn't have less in common. Natalie's a messy artist and Rob's a rigid academic. The only thing they share is their devotion to their respective best friends who just got engaged. Still, unexpected chemistry has Natalie cautiously optimistic about being maid of honor to Rob's best man. Until shortly before the ceremony, Natalie learns that Rob wrote a 1-star review of her new novel. This has them both reeling. Natalie from imposter syndrome and Rob over the reason he needed to write it. When the reception ends, these two opposites hope they'll never meet again. But as they slip from their 20s into their 30s, they're forced together whenever their fast-tracked best friends celebrate another milestone. Through housewarmings and christenings, life-changing triumphs and failures, Natalie and Rob grapple with their own choices and with how their hardest critic can become your perfectly imperfect match. After all, sometimes even the truest love stories need a bit of rewriting. So, the romance happens later on in the book. Basically, you've got an enemies to lovers situation here, but like it's building up throughout the story, and it's kind of toward the middle to the end when we see romance. There are some heavy-hitting topics in here, so beware. There's cancer in here, and there's dementia in here. So if those are particular triggers for you, watch out with this one. But like I said, it was an enjoyable read when I read it, and I'm glad I did get it from Book of the Month. Like, I'm glad I read it. The last book I have here is another Book of the Month pick, and it was my July pick, and I'm very excited about it because I enjoyed her previous book called The Wishing Game. This book is The Lost Story by Meg Shaffer, and I love the cover. The inside says it's inspired by C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia. This wild and wondrous novel is a fairy tale for grown-ups who still knock on the back of wardrobes just in case, from the author of The Wishing Game. So I haven't even really read the back of this book yet, because I kind of wanted it to be a surprise when I was reading it. But now I'm kind of intrigued and I want to find out what it says. So let's read it together. As boys, best friends Jeremy Cox and Rafe Howell went missing in a vast West Virginia state forest, only to mysteriously reappear 6 months later with no explanation from where they'd gone or how they'd survived. 15 years after their miraculous homecoming, Rafe is a reclusive artist who still bears scars inside and out but has no memory of what happened during those months. Meanwhile, Jeremy has become a famed missing person's investigator. With his uncanny abilities, he is the one person who can help vet Emily, maybe that's how you say her name, Wendell find her sister, who has vanished in the very same forest as Rafe and Jeremy. Jeremy alone knows the fantastical truth, that while the rest of the world was searching for them, the two missing boys were in a magical realm filled with impossible beauty and terrible danger. He believes it's there that they will find Emily's sister. But for his own inscrutable reasons, Jeremy has kept Rafe in the dark since their return. However, the time for burying secrets comes to an end as the quest for Emily's sister begins. The former lost boys must confront their shared past, no matter how traumatic the memories, alongside the headstrong Emily. Rafe and Jeremy must return to the enchanted world they called home for 6 months. For only then can they get back everything and everyone they've lost. This sounds so freaking amazing. I can't wait to start it, and I really love The Wishing Game. So I think I'm probably going to really love this. And where it says that it's inspired by Narnia, I loved Narnia. So I'm very excited to get to this book. So tell me, have you read any of these books? Are you excited about any of these books? I know I am. I'm stoked to get into each one of these. I mean, I've already read a couple of them, but I'm stoked to get into the ones that I haven't read yet. So yeah, I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you're reading fantastic stuff, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.